It's a remarkable sight, a seemingly relaxed, unguarded O.J. Simpson talking about himself and the murders in a way we've never seen before.
An hour or two before Nicole's death, Nicole's on the phone crying.
So how often during the 12 hours you were with him did you think, this guy might have killed her?
Well, I would look at his hands, and I would look at his body, and I would think there's power in that.
Strong man.
Strong man.
BBC entertainment talk show host Ruby Wax, a Chicago native, taped 12 hours in a day in the life of O.J. Simpson. Dateline obtained the edited show.
They're thrilled. They're just thrilled.
Wax is not a traditional journalist. She has an offbeat, non-confrontational interview style that she says Simpson liked. Wax admits she didn't challenge Simpson the way many reporters might.
I really want people to be in the state they are as if we were in a restaurant having a conversation over dinner. I mean, that's as far as I try to go when I'm doing an interview. I want them in that state. I want them that free, and I want them to look me in the eye.
Right.
And not be afraid.
Also, the BBC paid Simpson and reported $17,000 for the interview. It defended the payment as money that would ultimately go to the Goldman family, a result of the judgment against Simpson in the civil trial. There, he was found responsible for the murders. Ruby Wax says that for around 7 of the 12 hours she taped with Simpson, they talked about the trials, apparently still the center of his life. Simpson continues to claim that a racist police conspiracy was out to frame him.
You saw all the testimony. You got 5 police officers standing for a half hour outside of my wall with nothing to do.
Right.
They got bodies at the other crime. They're not at the other crime. They're standing outside of my wall trying to figure a way to get over my wall to see what I'm doing in my house.
And then when did he think of dropping a glove in the back of your
house? Because once they found out I was in Chicago,
they still could.
Then they should have left. Then they should have left. But they want to search the house. Right. And that's when he came and found a reason to search the house. The glove gave him a reason to search the house.
I wonder when Furman, I mean, if you were going through this in your mind, and I'm sure you've gone through it 1,000 times, thought of picking up the other glove, going into your house and dropping it. I mean, that's an unbelievable thing to do.
They needed a reason to get in my house. It happens all the time. It's just something that police do. They cover each other's ass. We saw the movie Serpico. It's happened time and time again.
Well, they have to discuss it. It's a complicated thing to carry a glove and a hat and a thing.
No, you don't have to discuss it.
Well, you don't do it by osmosis.
Yes, they do. You ever been around a police? I mean, it's like a football team. Things happen in a football team. We don't have to discuss. Everybody covers for everybody.
Simpson does not explain this further or offer any evidence in the program provided to us. The Los Angeles police have always denied any conspiracy to frame Simpson.
Did you get the sense he was lying to you?
No, but he's a guy who lives completely on the surface. There's no insight. There's no introversion, I don't feel. He's a jock.
I mean,
we went to high school with these guys. It is what it is. It's slick. It's one-liners. It's charm. It's, it's like pulling the girls in. But you're talking about something so heavy. He's never had really practice in thinking about these deep things.
As much as Simpson seems to obsess about his case, he surprisingly says there are 2 people he has never mentioned the murders to, his and Nicole's children. Here, they drive up to watch daughter Sydney play basketball.
Where's your daughter?
She's number 30.
And do the other kids ever ask her about, what you...
No, nobody.
They don't?
These kids, you'll see, they're all the girls wanted me to coach the team.
Did your daughter ever ask you about it?
No.
She never asked you about the murders?
Never at all.
She never mentioned it?
Never mentioned it once. Not even my son. No.
Never mentioned it?
Never once.
Don't you want to sit down and talk to them and say, listen, you may hear things about Daddy?
Not at all.
You never want to talk about it?
No.
I think you better.
No. Well, I go to, I know you want to be a shrink, but I've gone through the best shrinks and child psychologists, and they don't advise that.
They said never mention it?
No. Let them bring it up.
Only in Beverly Hills.
About it,
yeah.
Well, possibly let the kids do it. Don't force feed them any of this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you find that as stunning as I do? This is really surprising.
That's surprising. But again, it's not a man who knows really how to deal with emotions and probably grieving and probably remorse and probably a lot of other things. It's a man who doesn't know.
Even when Wax and Simpson drive by the murder scene, the Bundy condo, Simpson claims it doesn't get to him.
I thought it would, and so I don't have a visual thing about it. In court, whenever they put pictures up of the bodies, I never looked at a picture. So I've never seen a picture of the bodies and in front of that. Even the video thing, my lawyers would say there, and I would kind of look off to the calendar. And stuff. Well, I don't want that image. I don't want to have that, to live the rest of my life with that picture of Nicole dead on the sidewalk, bleeding. I couldn't live with, didn't want to, and don't want to live with that picture.
Do you sometimes get a picture anyway?
No,
'Cause even
no, I don't. Not at all. It was tough at times in court. Sometimes they hear them talking about it. I think it was some of the few times that I would try to emotionally and physically,
Close
mentally
down.
go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Go elsewhere. Sometimes it's tough to shut it out. But with the first time I had inadvertently, actually coming back from the restaurant, inadvertently was driving by, and because normally I go down that way, and was surprised that I had really no reaction. And I've even driven by with a film crew.
Really?
Since then, with a German
and there's nothing.
film crew, no reaction.
But despite all that, Wax says, strangely enough, she never asked Simpson to drive by the Bundy condo.
You didn't ask to go by the house?
No.
So he just sort of directed you that way?
I was looking for somewhere to eat. And then he said, oh, this is where she was murdered.
Oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way, yeah. Again, he's upset about her death, whatever you want to say, whether he did it or he didn't do it. And so he does things unconsciously, I think.
And Simpson still blames Nicole's friend Faye Resnick and her alleged drug connections for the murders. Resnick, he claims, is the best link to what Simpson calls the real killers.
I've always said the answer's with Faye Resnick. In the world of Faye Resnick, her drugs, it's just too coincidental that she moves in with Nicole. We find out that for the first time in years or whatever, she's totally hooked on drugs that she's been doing for 2 months. She's totally broke. She moves in with Nicole. Nicole's dead 4 days later. Plus, an hour or two before Nicole's death, Nicole's on the phone crying. Now, it's a woman that never cried. Even when she called the police those 2 times, she wasn't crying. She may have sound scared and all that. She wasn't crying. She's crying, talking to Faye on the phone. Why is she crying, talking to Faye?
Why?
And she's dead? I don't know. But whatever reason she was crying, talking to Faye on the phone is why, to me, is directly related to her
Can I
death.
ask you a question? It'd be so easy, you know, to
To
just
what?
wrap it up.
Now, if we can catch him, that would wrap it up.
Why don't you get your hands on Faye and say, come on?
They have me in jail tomorrow.
I don't mean your hands. I mean just talk to her.
Oh, she won't. She's hiding.
Faye Resnick has denied any connection to the murders. Another major figure in the Simpson story, Fred Goldman, tells us O.J.'s comments to the BBC are just Simpson's attempt to get back in the limelight. At the end of their 12 hours together, Wax and Simpson wind up at a hotel balcony. The man acquitted in a criminal trial but found responsible in a civil trial is still talking about both.
The media, you know, and they know that I have millions of supporters, you know.
Yeah.
They will not let those supporters
Send you
support
money.
me, but they'll let the Goldman supporters send money to prosecute me. In a secret.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, the Goldmans lost somebody.
That makes sense in a criminal, in a civil action. That makes sense at all. I disagree with you totally.
Really?
If you are not taking sides, I lost someone too. People forget I lost my kids lost someone, and I lost someone also. I mean, the Goldmans didn't lose it, as far as I'm concerned. Anyone that they felt more love and support for than I felt for Nicole. You know, I mean, I know I spent more time with Nicole certainly than Fred over the last 10 years of his son's life that he spent with his son. You know,
I think you're deluding yourself that this is coming off of you because you're going on and on and on and on. There's something really affecting
you. Hey, look, you asked me a question about something.
Yeah.
And there's no superficial answer.
No.
Unless I talk about
but
it,
I can
unless
hear
I get
you're
deeper.
bugged. I can hear you're bugged.
Of course I am. I'm bugged to have to talk about it. You know, get my blood pressure going to have to. I don't think anybody could have gone through. I got I got totally screwed. I got screwed. You know, I got things taken from me. I got me to an extent taken from me. My kids don't have a mother, and people want to ignore because of their, as far as I'm concerned, either ignorance and in many cases, subconscious racism. Won't look at the facts.
OJ, can't you say one thing? You know, I don't care whether you're black, white, or green. I really don't care. The bottom line is you got off. You're innocent.
Thank you. Yeah, that is the bottom line, but that ain't the bottom line for so many people.
You're innocent. You got off. What kind of racism is that? You're free.
You know what? Let me say something.
You're walking around.
Let me say something.
What's your problem here?
Just
be free, be happy.
And once I get riled, sometimes, you know, you really get pissed, and I start thinking about stuff, and thinking about this and this and this and this. And
you've spent more hours with him than any other private citizen, probably, other than his close friends.
Yeah.
Did O.J. Simpson kill his wife?
I hope he didn't. I really hope he didn't.
You can't tell?
I can't tell. And I think I'm pretty good.
And you got me riled up. You got me started on this subject. So if you promise that you will not ask me another question
I will
about
never
the case,
ask you again.
we won't have to talk about it anymore.
Just did you do it?
No, I didn't. Nope.
Finally, things take one last bizarre turn, a turn you've maybe heard of, if not seen.
I just said, I want to do a promo with you. Just when I open the door, could you just stand there and keep your face really still?
What do you think was going through his head?
I think he was trying to be funny. You know, he was loosened up. It was at the end of the day, it was 12 hours. And again, I don't understand his sense of humor, but he clearly thought that was an amusing moment.
What is really going on in O.J. Simpson's mind? Wax says not only is she not sure, but amazingly, she believes Simpson may be unsure himself.
Do you feel like you got any closer to what really happened? Whether or not he was the man with the knife?
It's one of those unsolved mysteries. And, you know, I don't think he'll ever know. I really don't think he'll ever know.
So if by any chance he is the killer...
He doesn't know it, and I don't think he ever will. And how do you find out? You know, where do you go? Do you hypnotize? Do you split his mind? On his deathbed, he won't know.